The first call with a new coaching client is supposed to be the best part of the whole engagement. You've signed them up, they're excited, you're excited. This is where the real work starts. But most coaches walk into that first session and immediately burn the first 30 minutes asking basic questions about the client's background and goals, because they never collected any of it in advance. And then you're scrambling to deliver actual coaching in the last 20 minutes of a call that should have been pure momentum. The fix is a coaching intake form, and in this video, I'll walk you through exactly what questions to include, when to send it, and the one question that predicts coaching success better than any of the others. So, let's start with why this matters. Because a lot of coaches think of an intake form as just admin work, one more thing to set up. It's not. The intake form is the thing that makes the first session feel like a second session. When the client fills out a thoughtful form before you ever get on the call, 3 things happen. 1, you show up prepared with real context about their life and goals. 2, they show up already having reflected, which means they're more articulate and more committed. And 3, you spend the whole call doing coaching, not interviewing. The alternative is what I used to do, which was treat the first call as discovery plus coaching plus onboarding all smashed together. It was exhausting for me and confusing for the client. The client would leave feeling like they'd told me their whole life story but weren't sure what we'd actually agreed to work on. And then the next session I'd forget half of what they'd said because I was trying to juggle too much in my head. The intake form solves all of that by doing the information gathering offline, on the client's own time, in writing, where you can actually reference it later. Here's something most coaching guides miss. You don't want one intake form, you want 2. And I'll get to why in a second, but first let me describe them. The first form is short. 5 or 6 quick questions. You send this one to prospects who want to book a free discovery call. It's basic info, what they're struggling with, what they're hoping to get out of coaching, plus a couple of qualifying questions so you can tell if you're a good fit before you ever get on the call. The second form is longer. This is the real intake form. You only send this one after a client has signed up and paid. This is where you go deep on their history, their goals, their blockers, their preferences, everything you need to show up to session 1 fully prepared. Why split them up? Because if you send a 20-question intake form to someone who just wants to book a free 15-minute call, they're going to feel ambushed. Either they fill it out resentfully or they ghost you. But if you send a short qualifying form, they fill it out in 2 minutes, and then the people who actually go on to sign up are the ones who already self-selected into the longer form without complaint. 2 forms means less friction at the top of the funnel and more preparation at the bottom. So let's get into the actual questions. There are 14 I use, grouped into 4 buckets. The first bucket is personal information. 4 questions. Full name, preferred contact method, whether that's email or phone or WhatsApp or whatever you use, billing details if you invoice, and how they heard about you. That last one is marketing data, not coaching data, but you absolutely want it. Knowing which channel brings in your best clients is how you decide where to spend your time on marketing. The second bucket is background. 3 questions. What made you seek out coaching right now? What's one challenge you're currently facing that you'd like support with? And have you worked with a coach before? And if so, what was that experience like? That last one is underrated. If they had a bad experience with a previous coach, you need to know what they didn't like so you don't accidentally repeat the pattern. The third bucket is aspirations. 4 questions. What specific goals do you want to achieve through coaching? How will your life look or feel different once you achieve them? What's standing in your way right now from achieving them on your own? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making real changes right now? That last question, the commitment scale, this is the value bomb. This one question tells you more about coaching success than any of the other 13 combined. Because here's the truth. A client who rates themselves a 7 is going to get very different results than a client who rates themselves a 10. And it's not your job to fix that. It's your job to know it going in. If someone writes a 6, you can have a direct conversation in session 1 about what would move that number up or whether the timing is actually right for them to commit to the coaching process. You're not gatekeeping, you're calibrating. The fourth bucket is the coaching experience itself. 3 questions. What kind of support or accountability helps you thrive best? Are there circumstances like schedule, time zones, or finances that may affect your ability to fully participate? And is there anything else you'd like me to know before we begin working together? That last one is the open door. Most clients don't use it, but the ones who do always tell you something crucial. A health issue, a family crisis, a relationship thing, something that completely changes how you show up for them. So when do you actually send these things? The short qualifying form goes out at the moment of booking a discovery call. Not after the call, before. They book, they get the form, they fill it out before they even talk to you. This way, you walk into the discovery call already knowing the basics, and you can spend that call doing the actual discovery work instead of asking for their name and email. The full intake form goes out right after they sign up and pay, immediately, not a week later. The longer you wait, the less excited they are about filling it out, and the more likely they show up to session 1 having not done it. Send it in the welcome sequence with a clear deadline, like, please complete this within 48 hours of signing up so I can prepare for our first session. Here's where automation matters. You don't want to be manually emailing intake forms to every new client. You want the system to do it for you. I use Paperbell for this because intake forms are baked into the package setup. You create the form once, attach it to the package, and every client who signs up for that package gets the form automatically. Their responses are stored alongside their booking and payment history, so you can pull them up next to the calendar when you're prepping for a session. So the practical part, you could do this in Google Forms. That's where most coaches start. But here's the problem with Google Forms. The responses live in a spreadsheet that's completely disconnected from everything else in your coaching business. You've got client data in Google Forms, payments in Stripe, scheduling in Calendly, contracts in DocuSign, notes in Notion. That's 5 tools for one client. Good luck keeping track. The better way is to use one tool that does the whole onboarding flow. I use Paperbell. You create a package, you click Survey, you add your questions, and you set when it sends, either on sign up or after the first session. Done. The client signs up, pays, gets the intake form automatically, fills it out, and you see their responses in the same place as their booking and their payment. One dashboard, one client record, everything in one place. You can try Paperbell free, links in the description. So, remember what I said at the start about walking into session 1 scrambling to deliver coaching in 20 minutes because you spent 30 on basic questions. Here's the callback. That doesn't happen when you have an intake form. You walk in already knowing their story, their goals, and their commitment level, and you spend the full hour doing what they paid you for, which is coaching. Your action step this week: write your intake form. Use the 14 questions I gave you as a starting point, tweak them for your niche, and get it set up to send automatically after every sign-up. Your first session with every new client from that point forward is going to feel completely different, better prepared, more focused, and way more impactful. And that's what turns a one-off client into a repeat client into a referral source.